good
gosh.
angle.
Look at this, amazing. Already have so many people jumping in here. Good to see everybody, super excited. Hope we get engaging conversation today. I think everybody, look at Vic's already jumping in there, posting stuff. All right, Vic. So something you want to share here as we get going, Vic?
Sure, why not?
Hey.
Why not? Basically, some of you may have heard that the Oregon Parks is asking for comments on a new drone rule that they're going to have posted on their site. Basically, what's going on is Kenji worked with them, and he put together some new wording that says basically you can fly in Oregon parks except for certain areas, which makes perfect sense. You shouldn't fly near people. You shouldn't fly near, wildlife sensitive areas. But they're asking for people to go in and comment. So I threw a link in there. Follow that link. Read what Kenji posted, or it's not Kenji's, but what the park people have proposed, and comment accordingly. And we fully support the way it's going to be written. There are wildlife people especially, who are very much so against it for obvious reasons. And then there's also another drone person out there telling people just to say you can't regulate drones, so don't worry about it. And that's the wrong approach. So anyway, if you don't mind, Kenji and I would love it if you can go in there and comment accordingly.
All right.
Because even if you don't live in Oregon, let me tell you why. Because if this is successful in Oregon, we can do it in other states. I'm sorry. Like here in Colorado Park says, nope, don't even think about it. Don't even ask. So if we can get a one in Oregon that works well for everybody involved. Not everybody's going to be happy, but nobody ever is. Then we can use it in other states. It'd be a great template. So anyway, that's my spiel for the day. I'll be quiet now.
All right. Well, temporarily. I'm sure you'll have some input later. All right.
Nah, not me.
Yeah, awesome. Yes, we will definitely get on that. So he put that link in there, and I love the fact that, yes, this is something that can be adopted into other places. And so it's great to have you and Kenji out there for us. Thank you, Vic. All right.
And I totally agree. It's good to, everything that's done now is only going to, bring drones more into the public eye as a good thing. I mean, they're going to be flying drones eventually anyway. So
yes.
Let's show them how it's done.
All right. And then also Jim said, speaking of templates, do you have one for this, Vic?
No. Basically, I'm sorry, Jim. Basically, just go read it and say, hey, you know what? I like this language and this is why. It doesn't have to be this tome of reasoning. It's just, 3 or 4 quick sentences. Hey, this is great. We really like it. I think it's very fair. We can, there's areas we won't fly in. There's places we won't disturb, and that kind of stuff. Also, Oregon parks are officially stating that, yes, they understand drones are a recreational activity. So they're on our side. It's just some people aren't, which is normal.
Awesome. Awesome. Good that we get this ball rolling. Yes. All right. So he's got that link in there. You can check that out. So hi, everybody. And
Hello.
Have a couple of announcements before we get the ball rolling here. It sounds like I need to let somebody in here really quick, and so first of all, I wanted to do a quick little reminder. We do have some cool workshops that we are working on. I know last week I told you I was going to be able to tell you this week, but it's really close, but we're still working out a few details. But let me tell you, there's 2 of them on the horizon, and they are awesome. So as soon as I find out more information, I am going to share that with you. All right. But I also want to know, what are you doing, right? Kim and I want to do shout outs for you. If you're doing something in the industry that's super cool, you know you've got a workshop coming up, or you're going to be at a booth, you're doing a seminar, you're doing something with STEM, let us know, connect with us, because we want to do a shout out for you and kind of promote what you're doing in the industry. There's so much good things happening, and we know that we can be here to do shout outs for you. So I have one more shout out that I want to do. Women in Drones has just recently put out a press release. It's the updated 2021 numbers for how many female pilots there are in the industry. And give yourselves a pat on the back. Good news, the numbers are up. We are at over, actually, 19,000. Yes. Okay, so the numbers are still low.
I think I trained 1,000 of them.
I think you did too. You were
Is that remote pilots?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, female drone pilot. Isn't that awesome?
Nice.
So I'm going to give you a link, because last year we were at 14,000, over 14,000. And now this year, 2021, we were at 19, over 19. That's incredible. That is really, really good news. Now, I am going to put the link in there so you can check out that press release as well. Okay. And so I put that into our chat. A lot of doorbells going on. I know everybody's excited because of our phenomenal spotlight speaker. Isn't that the best segue over to our spotlight speaker?
Sure.
Right? Here
What's
we
up,
are.
Linda?
Question for you. Hi, good morning. When you said 19,000 women now as RPICs, what percentage of the total RPICs is that now?
Well, that's a really good question, and it would probably be in there, and maybe Sharon could mic here and let us know.
I'm going to
Well,
guesstimate.
the reason I asked-
7.5%.
Okay, because, obviously if women pilots increased as well, men pilots did as well over that time. So I'm just trying to figure out, was it a commensurate growth, or are we, what
No,
percentage? So
we're
that's
still
my
small.
question.
No, it's a great question, Linda. And as Desi pointed out, we do have all the graphs on the website under demographics. Women now make up, of just the remote pilots, 7.6% of the total.
Ooh, I was close.
Yeah.
So it is a small percentage still, but the fact that our numbers continue to increase and have every year for the last 6 years is a positive sign in terms of growth.
Absolutely.
in the sector.
Absolutely. That's great news. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Great question. Yes. So I put the link in there for that press release. So you want to check that out. And with that, we are going to segue over to our spotlight speaker. So Rob Corbett is here with us today. And what a perfect opportunity to talk about diversity and inclusion, right? So Rob, I'm going to make you our spotlight, and thank you for joining us, and share with us a little bit about how you got started and about Flight Takes Many Forms. We're almost there. And as we wait for the technology, right, to unmute, we still.
Desi,
Yes.
good morning. I did want to shout out my event that we're going to be doing later on in May.
Okay.
Just to let everybody know that we're basically just gonna show up, fly our drones down at Fiesta Island as of today. And we're going to be doing it May 14th, 8 in the morning till about 1 o'clock in the afternoon in San Diego, California, for the people that are here on the in Southern Cal.
Awesome. Okay. Send me some information so that we can put that out there. And with that, we are going to bump
Thank
over to
you.
Rob. Okay. There you are.
Absolutely.
You got
Sorry
it.
for
Now we can hear you.
yes, absolutely. No, thank you all. Thank you, Desi. Thank you, Women in Drones, for the opportunity to share my story today and share a little bit about Flight Takes Many Forms. Rob Corbett, I am a drone pilot here in the state of Virginia. My story is a little non-traditional. I was an 11 and a half year Air Force veteran, and my career was criminal and counterintelligence prior to getting into drones. So I really used photogrammetry and some of the products that drones would produce for Department of Defense for intelligence purposes and small reconnaissance back in 2013, 14, 15. So technology was really hadn't broken through to what it is now. I transitioned from the Air Force in 2016, and at that time, I ended up sustaining a spinal cord injury, which rendered me paralyzed from the chest down. So I am a quadriplegic, and in my journey, I had to transition my career. Right, I had to figure out what it was I was going to do with some of the skill sets I developed while I was in the military. So I felt like drones could be a possibility, that I could potentially teach myself to fly drones again, even with functional disability. So I began teaching technology, a technology course for individuals with disabilities. And in that, I was teaching coding and robotics and CNC machining and laser engraving, all these different aspects. So then I decided, well, I bet I could incorporate drones into this, and I could teach others with disabilities how to fly drones. So I then stood up a drone program for a state vocational rehabilitation center and began teaching individuals with physical and cognitive disabilities how to fly drones. And it was really great. It was going really well. And then COVID hit, and all of our on-campus students had to go away from the campus. The center had to look at restructuring and funding for programs. And since the drone program was the newest, it was one of the first ones cut. So I independently went off into this inclusive flight journey. And since I've been advocating for not only just individuals with disabilities, but also just everyone, I kind of see my mission as being a conduit for all underserved and underrepresented communities. And how can we meld and bring all these communities together, whether it be women in drones, whether it be individuals with disabilities, whether it be minorities. And I feel like a broad approach would be the best, most impactful way to do that. Because there's so many great organizations out there that exist that advocate for so many of these things. How do we bring them all together? And that is where Flight Takes Many Forms came from, is in this video project, how can we highlight all these diverse use cases and all these unique people behind the controls, and show and create representation for future drone pilots, for innovators, for manufacturers? How can we become more universal and grow as a community? And that's really what inspired me to reach out to some of these amazing pilots that are part of the cast and say, hey, would you like to contribute footage? Would you like to share your story? And let's just make this a grassroots project where we're coming together as drone pilots, as people within the industry, and we're showing the next generation, this is what we can use with the technology. This is how we can push innovation forward. And this is how we can sustain a safe drone culture by just, championing each other and pushing forward. And so that's really been the driving force behind Flight Takes Many Forms. And of course, Desi is a cast member of Flight Makes Many Forms. Jennifer Birdsong, I see you there. She's also on Flight Takes Many Forms. Sharon and Women in Drones has been gracious enough to give us some website hosting for our pilots. Once we start getting the videos edited and their stories out there, you'll be able to access Flight Takes Many Forms cast members' stories on Women in Drones. So we're so excited for that. And it's just such an amazing group of people that have come together, and I'm always looking for more too. So anyone that has a unique use case, wants to contribute footage, wants to share their story, say there's something out there that you just feel like needs to get out there and people need to see, I encourage just to reach out and send me your information and footage, and we'll cut it together. And everything is collaborative. So I give all my cast members the opportunity to edit their own footage, or they can jump in and we can do it as a team. However, they want to do it, and they have a 100% control over anything that they do and whatever's released. And I think that keeps it unique, and it keeps it to that individual, and really shares their story in an organic way. So, yeah, I mean, let's start some questions. If anybody has any comments, questions about flight takes many forms, about inclusive flight, how I fly, please let's open the door and let's talk about it.
Put your questions and comments down into the chat and we'll try to monitor them. And then I would kind of like to get the flight going with what audience and what platform are you hoping to promote this through, and what is your target audience?
So my target audience is going to be starting on more of an educational level. So we're going to start with younger generations, young pilots in, so let's say, middle schools, high schools, universities, trade schools, colleges. We're going to push that out to anyone who wants to show it to their students, show it to their trainees, and go from there. But it's going to be widely available to the industry. So, anyone who's a drone service provider, manufacturer, anyone, it's free for anyone who wants to, show it, share it, whatever. It's just going to be a grassroots, just anyone and everyone. And it's just such a collaboration. And so far, it's been really great. We have a total right now of 20 cast members all across the globe. And all of them have such a unique story and something so diverse within all these different sectors. And it's amazing to see it all come together. And some of the use cases, I can dive into some of them now, but a lot of them I want to wait until the story comes out, because it's just amazing what some of these people are doing with drones and what really drove them to become drone pilots to begin with.
How about a teaser at least?
Absolutely. Let me see. What's a good teaser for now? I would have to say some of the initiatives that are being taken by Globee and Isabel North and her team in Sweden, I think is really amazing. I believe they have some really great humanitarian, some really great environmental use cases that they're actually into. I have a little bit of an inside track on some of those. I don't want to spoil it, but they really are doing great with their crowd droning program and how they're bringing masses of drone pilots together to collect some of this data for climate change and some of these humanitarian efforts. I have, let's see, let's look at Ryan Walsh and his team at Valkyrie with their drone delivery system that they're developing for picking up and dropping off goods within large cities, and some of the drone delivery platforms that they're making. When you talk about aging populations, people with disabilities, in a time of where a lot of people are isolated anyway due to the pandemic, being able to get medications, groceries, and things like that. Some of the stuff that his team's working on at Valkyrie is really amazing. And so those are two, and I think I could probably spin off on about 6 or 7 more real quick, but they're just it's amazing what the different entities are doing and how it's all kind of coming together. And I it's so exciting to see how it's all growing, and just how are we going to sustain it. And I think this is another way we can sustain it, is creating this representation and showing the world it's drone piloting isn't just this one demographic or these one group of people or one career field. You might have people who are amazing engineers that get into drone piloting and decide that, they can use their skills. So they bring something different to the table. So it's interesting.
Well, it looks like we do have some questions popping up in our chat. And forgive me if I miss some. So we can all be on board for this, but it says, what response support are you getting from the drone supplier industry? How to make drone controls more adaptive?
Rob, and the question really is, flying a drone takes some motor skills. And a lot of us are familiar with CP individuals, things like that, who have varying levels of motor skills. What's the industry doing to come together with you guys on so worthy a project?
Yeah, so that's been the biggest push. I have advocated from the time that I had started flying drones as a quadriplegic. As you can see, I have no hand function. So my hands stay in this position all the time. I can't move my fingers, but I can move my wrist. So for me, when I was first reaching out to drone manufacturers and asking them, how could someone adapt your current product, and what are you doing to create more universal design within your product to where people could mod it, or there could be some very smooth transitions in universal design, modular really. I've gotten some good response from some manufacturers. Others are saying it is what it is. But a lot of what I have done is I started 3D printing extensions and 3D printing things that could allow someone with limited hand function or limited mobility to attach to their controllers to where they could fly. I would just recently worked with a pilot in Germany. He's a quadriplegic, but he's a higher level than I am. So he was flying with using a mouth stylus with ports in his drone controller toggles. He was flying using his head, and it was very inefficient. And so I worked at some of these extensions that he could use and bump the toggles easier with his hands, and allow him to have more safe control over the controller. So we advocate, and I continue to advocate, and hopefully this will open some eyes to the industry of the importance of maybe some more modular design within their controllers. And I'm still, advocating on many levels to see how we can improve these interfaces for a lot of other users and make it more universal. And I've worked specifically with stroke patients. One individual that I worked with, he had lost all use of his left side, but his right side was good. So we set the controller up on the left side how I would fly, and on the right side was normal operations. And through a lot of practice, a lot of skills enhancing, and just taking that time and working through that, he was able to successfully and safely fly with those extensions. But of course, like for myself, I always fly, even though I can manipulate the controls, I always have someone as a VO, but then I also have someone beside me that could take control in case I could not maneuver or do something that would be, but it's never been an issue, but I always put those fail safes in case I need that assistance.
Like, it sounds like voice command is the next thing.
I think that would be amazing. Voice command interfacing with any of those would be absolutely amazing. Yeah, that's definitely another way to go. Also working with engineer out of the UK, he developed a mouth-driven kind of mechanism to attach to RC controllers. Now he's done this with smaller drones, but he hasn't done it with more of the enterprise or higher end commercial drones. But he's successfully developed it's a kind of a air input output mechanism to where you can move your head with it, and it'll go whatever direction you're moving your head. and then you can control, your pitch and your yaw off of how much you blow into the straw or how much you suck back to the straw. So there's some people out there working on some very interesting ideas, and I think they're just not in the right platform, right? They're not working at a manufacturer for current systems. They're working at other aerospace companies, and they just do this stuff on the side.
Wow. Wow. Amazing technology that is on the forefront of what's coming. And so those are amazing things that could come into play. So also we have some other questions. I'm having a hard time keeping up. We have so many questions going on right now. So amazing. Thanks, Rob. My older brother is in a wheelchair bound, and I have a ton of respect for you and what you do. This is from Izzy. What is your favorite drone to fly, and what type of flying? Is it FPV?
So I experiment with whatever I can get my hands on, and I've R&D'd a lot of different platforms in my journey to fly. Again, I started with very smaller platforms like the DJI Spark and some of the smaller drones, and then I've worked up to whatever I can get my hands on to try. Currently, I would say when I started my program, and there was a reason. When I started my program that I utilized the Skydio 2 platform, it was when I was training individuals with disabilities, some of that built-in autonomy and that some of those obstacle avoidance safety measures that are built in with the Skydio was a great platform to teach a broad spectrum of individuals how to fly with disabilities. So I'd have to say when it comes to the interface, that's a pretty easy interface to train people on. I currently, I'm flying a Mavic 2 Pro, Air 2S, Mavic 2. So a lot of DJI products currently, but I'm always looking to get my hands on a bunch of different platforms. So.
Awesome. Okay, so Adrian, he also he has a question here, but he also had mentioned, did a link to a flying web workshop that he's got going on. So make sure everybody checks out the chat for that, because he put a post in there for that. But Adrian wanted to know, how can we better support your initiative? Fantastic question. What can we do for you?
Initially I felt like, to make this project grow and to push it out, I felt like, oh, well, I would need some type of budget, or I would need, resources and things like that. And then that didn't really pan out when I was lobbying for all that. And I figured, this is a grassroots initiative anyway. And I feel like the volunteers and the people that are part of the cast, I feel like they're in it for the right reasons, and nobody's trying to monetize this. So I feel like right now, currently, just spreading the word of the project and just how diverse we can make this, and just welcome these people into the community and share resources of how to help them grow in the community and how we can connect. That's the biggest thing, and it's just getting the word out there and just making this, in the forefront of people's minds, that so many different groups of people fly and different things, bring them into the fold, and let's keep them in there. General aviation has historically been pretty exclusive, and the drone community has a great opportunity to be very inclusive. And it has an opportunity to touch a lot of people and to create quality of life for so many. I feel it's something that we should just champion each other and help each other through. And that's the biggest thing that we can do is, hey, get people involved and let them know that it's out there.
Awesome. So a couple more questions showing up here in the chat. We kind of touched on it a little bit, but Kadir wanted to know a little bit more about how are you planning on reaching out to other entities, to people, and specifically in the school districts?
Yeah, so I've the goal is to use some of these nonprofit organizations that I've worked with in the past and some of the different groups. So Drone Forward Incorporated is a nonprofit I work with, and they do a lot with education in STEM and STEAM. And then also too, some of our cast members are in this educational space too. So being able to push that out, and I've been in contact with Diana Robinson and Alina George with the CTI program. And I've worked with NCAT, so Jonathan and his team at NCAT. So I feel like just using all these avenues, using all these people that are willing to share the story, is really, and the group of people, all of us here today, just sharing it and saying, within your personal network, hey, this is a project that's going on that I feel like, it's meaningful. I feel like it's going to help grow some of the pilot base. I think it's going to help us be more diverse and innovate. So let's share and push that forward.
So in other words, when everybody sees your post on LinkedIn, we need to reshare it. Get it out there, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that helps a ton. That social network within LinkedIn has been great to build my network and people that are like-minded in the community. So, and I've found a lot of great pilots out there through LinkedIn, doing some amazing things. So I feel like, yeah, just sharing the word. And then also too, another cast member, Dr. Laquata Sumter, she's doing some great things in the education space. So she's going to be a huge advocate to push this out too. And so, it's just, I'm so overwhelmed with the people, everyone involved. It's amazing. I feel like it's really organically grown on its own, and I feel like it's organically going to push itself out there, and that's what it was meant to be. It was meant to be something just very natural, non-forced, and something for the good and for the better of the community. So
I'm so impressed with the women that you have on there. It's just amazing, and their stories that they're sharing. Yeah.
Yes.
I like that personal touch, and everybody is doing something different in the industry. Amazing story. So as far as your project goes, is there a specific launch date? Has it already launched? And is there like a completion date and your end objectives?
So the first run of the project is going to start in September, and I have some early footage that I will utilize, and then I will consistently keep pushing footage out past September. So this will go on as long as I have footage to fill. So the goal is monthly, starting in September, that we put out at least one, 30-minute, or they're all going to vary in length, but there'll be kind of like a little docu-series on each pilot. And each pilot will kind of give a footage of what is unique to them and how they fly and what their story is. They're going to share that through flight, but then we're also going to do an interview series where I'll either sit down with them in person or via Zoom, or other cast members will sit down with other cast members and ask them questions if they're geographically close, and just talk about the project. So yeah, it'll sustain and go on as long as we just have footage for it, and it'll all be open source, public, free to anyone, non-monetized. It's going to be out there for people to learn and to grow.
Awesome. Okay, we have a couple more questions in the chat that I want to try to hit really quick. I know we are already past the bottom of the hour, but Robin had said, are you interested in controlling via laptop more than being at home office and controlling the drone in the field?
Yes. So looking at the possibilities of beyond visual line of sight and what that could mean for someone like myself, anyone with a mobility deficit or functional mobility deficit, I can interface with a laptop and a tablet all day long very easily. So when we look at where the technology could potentially go in the next few years with some of this, one, the vocational opportunity for people to remotely operate drones in the field is huge, from a job standpoint. And having more opportunities to interface with the drone creates more inclusivity for people with different disabilities or functional ability. So I'm very excited to see where this technology pushes out in the future. And of course, yeah, I would love to get to that point.
All right, Vic has a question in here as well about how hard would it be to incorporate VR headsets?
Yeah, good question, Vic. I've been working a little bit with the FPV and seeing how that would interface. And so I guess it's hard to explain because I guess my only example is I've worked with the current DJI FPV drone. And in that, when you talk about the way the goggles are set up and everything, that's amazing. Having that heads up view, having that, everything is great. Where I run into, for my own personal experience, where I run into is I can't feel too much in my hands. So sometimes I have to physically look at where my toggles are or where my hands are positioned on the toggles. So utilizing the controls with the headset can sometimes be a little, I guess, overload and sensory for me. So I'm trying to find a way that I could stay focused on the screen, focused on the goggles, and still be able to use the controls effectively. So but it's all kind of all encompassing. I think the goggles are great because they allow you that first person view. They allow you that heads up information. It takes away that barrier of constantly, looking up, around, down, things like that. So yeah, I'm going to continue to work with that, but I feel like it's on the right track. It's just how do we adapt it?
Rob, I know
go ahead, Kim.
I know when I first got started in drones, I had a camp that was for cranial injuries, and they want us to come and fly drones. And I flew back then with a crazy drone pilot that was FPV. And we talked about taking because we wanted the kids and the people that were participating, we wanted them to just have the goggles on and get the experience. Like that's huge too, right? Just to get the experience, feel like they're taking a ride, and then also we were talking about somehow making a controller that was actually on the wheelchair, on the arms of the wheelchair. But it was we put it forth, they asked us, we put it forth, but then it was voted out. It was still very in the beginning, which I thought was kind of funny because, these kids were already injured. So why not let them have a little fun, right? So, but yeah, I mean, definitely you have people out there that are waiting. They're just unaware, like you're seeing, waiting for the fun, waiting for the opportunity to come to them, and also the fun. So, and all of us that are on this, Coffee Connections, we're all doing the same thing too. It's not an overnight success, it's still taking, I mean, look at and I say that just to say, keep the faith, brother, keep the faith, because I mean, look at in Oregon, it's the first state in the whole country that's considering having drones in their big parks. So we're still in the baby phase. So thank you so much for your vision. And yeah, the possibilities are endless. And even if people that are in situations of disability that they can't fly, they could at least definitely get some goggles on and let somebody fly for them so they could experience it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it bring up some great points. And yeah, it's amazing. I just keep pushing forward.
Yep.
Well, Rob, we are very excited for your Flight Takes many forms. We're excited for what you're doing, and happy to see it moving on and look forward to your posts, and feel free to connect. I put your LinkedIn in there, by the way, in case somebody wants to connect with you and share. And if there's any other way that you think we can support what you're doing, please reach out to us, and we all are here and want to see it move forward. So we're super excited about it. So we thank
One
you.
last thing,
very
one
much.
last thing I wanted to say.
Okay, one last thing
wanted to
from
mention.
Kim.
Yes. So Rob, have you seen the DJI story with the guy in the wheelchair that is doing cell tower inspections?
I have.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's I've had a really great connection with other individuals with disabilities within this, and trying to get them involved and flying. And you know, it's been great to hear each person's kind of story, and then helping them get through the individual hurdles has been amazing. For me, I have this like investigative mindset anyway.
Yeah.
So for me, if someone comes to me with a problem, I'm like, how do we fix
Sure.
this? How could we get around like you flying, like, and how can we do it the safest? So it's been amazing, and there's a lot of cool stories out there, and you'll probably see that story again, and then you will probably see a few more similar throughout the documentary as well.
I'm going to be reaching out to you to consult, so you can start helping me get around some stuff. Use that brain and get me over it, around it, or under it, but get me to it.
Yeah. And that's one thing too. I reach out to a lot of people, and I extend this to anyone that is in the community that's doing any type of training, anyone who on the education side. If you have individuals with disabilities, please reach out. I've taught an array of individuals with various disabilities, and I've come up with lesson plans for tons of different learning modalities. So, you know, that's a big thing, is reach out, and I can help you troubleshoot whatever we need to troubleshoot. You know, I may not have all the answers, but I'm there to help and assist people through. And one last thing too, through Drone Forward Inc., we've actually been advocating for accommodations for Part 107 testing for individuals with disabilities. And the FAA has been very responsive to that. And pretty soon we should have a full list of accommodations that will be available for individuals with disabilities for Part 107 testing. And so be on the lookout for that, because that's something we've been advocating for over a year now. And it's finally starting to come to fruition. I have two amazing pilots that have been within one question of getting their Part 107. Both have very high, one's a UC Berkeley grad that works in LiDAR, that has the experience in the field, would love to get his Part 107. He got his degree through UC Berkeley on accommodations because of his disability, but has had a hard time flying his drone and getting his Part 107 because of just the way that the testing is. So we want to push to where, one, we're staying safe, and we're not going out of any regulations, and we're following regulation, but what we're doing is we're leveling the playing field for people that have the abilities. It's just in a different way, and they're able to get their Part 107. So these two individuals will be testing soon, and I have no doubt that they'll obtain their Part 107, and they'll be able to continue, being a part of this industry.
That's so awesome, Rob.
It is. It is.
Victory. That's so awesome.
That is.
Oh, that's so great.
Major hurdle right there moving forward.
Totally. That's so awesome.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right. With that, we are going to go to our breakout sessions, but we do want to continue the topic of Flight Takes Many Forms. What does that mean to you? And so, Rob, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. You're the best.
Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for moving this forward. It's amazing. It is really amazing. So we're going to go to the breakout sessions.
Desi, did you want to make an announcement first?
as far, well, I was gonna do announcements at the end, and then
Okay.
Vic had something he wanted to throw in. So we really only have about 5 minutes in our room, because I still have so much more to say.
Yes, we've got breaking news hot off the press.
Breaking news that broke while we were here
If we
today.
only have 5
Oh,
minutes, let's just
okay,
stick around. Don't break out if we only have 5 minutes. Let's just
All
stick
right,
around.
I'm
and hear
good
the
with that.
news.
Are you guys good with
Let's do
that?
it.
All
Yeah,
right.
I wanted to give Rob his time,
Okay.
so, yep, that's
All right.
great. Rob
Thank you.
deserves his time, so let's do it.
Okay, forget that part. Okay, let me close this out and we will continue the topic going. Actually, there was obviously more questions. Let me close some of these out so I can see where I'm going.
Thanks, Desi, you're the best.
I'm spontaneous, you know.
Yes, you are.
So we did actually have a lot more questions in the chat there. So some of them were geared around the AR and the heads-up display. And so also, as far as promoting what you're going to be doing, there was a question in here that I thought was kind of relative to the way you see things happening now. Are you planning to be on TikTok?
You know, it's a platform I haven't explored yet, but I do see some value in it, and my daughters tell me there's value in it. So
Right.
I definitely, yeah. I mean, it's quite possible. I think if I had my bandwidth has really been LinkedIn and some Twitter and maybe some YouTube every now and again, but yeah, I mean. Maybe I'll throw that out there. And if there's a cast member maybe that wants to head up the TikTok thing, maybe we could get some create a channel there or something where we can push some stuff out.
Awesome. So I was also wondering, when Adrian was asking earlier what we can do and how we can help, I know editing and video editing is extremely time consuming. Are those the behind the scene type of things that somebody could maybe step up and offer some help, or what other ways like that can we help?
If anyone is is proficient in editing, I would love to learn. I'm okay at it. I'm learning as I go, and I feel like there's some cast members I believe that have a lot more leg up on editing than I do. So I kind of asked them internally if we could come together and they would want to donate their time to edit some of this stuff. But that was really the biggest thing with the funding is I was going to have an outside editing company kind of put everything together. But, we can definitely do this. If anyone wants to contribute and teach and let me learn or whatever, if they want to edit, then that's fine. I'm open to any ideas. Like I said, it's 100% collaborative and it's grassroots. So any assistance available is welcomed.
Okay, segueing into that funding side of things, is there any of that funding that is required or needed, or that you see a need?
This juncture, no, just because it would be a nicety, because I would love to be able to compensate my cast members for some of the things that they do and travel and any of that. And for the editing part, but I don't know. I feel like I got to let it build a little bit more before I can say like that's necessary.
Gotcha. All right. So do we have any last questions that we have in here for him? I will remove from Spotlight because we are really actually getting down to the last few minutes. And then I have a couple of announcements that I'm super excited to make. And then we will give the floor back to Vic because he has a little something that he wants to add in as well. So we're super excited about sharing this story. We like to know different ways that we can help out. Love that it's just putting the forefront for innovation and the many different ways that they're able to innovate technology in this industry, and the mindset of people are fantastic. And so I just know this will be moving forward in an amazing way. And Rob's looking at the watch going, wow, time's flying here. All right, so do we actually have any last questions for him or want to reach out? I did put, by the way, Rob, I did put your LinkedIn into the chat there. If there's another way that you'd like people to reach out to you, if you could put that into the chat, because we do have the availability to save the chat.
Yeah, if you would mind just throwing my either Linktree or my email out there, and then any questions within the chat, I will follow up after this, just because it's hard for me to go in, read it, and respond right now. So yeah, just if you have any questions, please just reach out via email, or I can respond, after we finish up here.
All right, and I am putting your email in there right now. So I put the Gmail if anybody wanted to reach out that way. All right. Okay, so you have a way to reach out to Rob, continue his story on. I know really quick, because I know we're now going to be running out of time, but one of your cast members was Jennifer Birdsong. And if you don't mind, Jennifer, can you unmute really quick, and maybe share a little bit about what this program means to you and how you're a part of the Flight Takes Many Forms.
Sure. Yeah. So, I connected with Rob. I myself, so I've been in the aviation industry for a very long time. I worked for an aviation training company. I have a disability as well. I won't get into what that is, but it does prevent me from ever having a pilot's license, a manned aviation pilot's license. So as I worked for this aviation training company, I got to sit back and I got to fly simulators for 20 years. And that was awesome because it's a real world experience, but I was never actually ever able to fly the real thing. And so it's kind of disheartening. And then drones come along. And for the first time in my life, I actually got to have a pilot's license. And that was that's really meaningful. You have no idea, after spending 20 years in the aviation training business, to actually put my hands on a pilot's license. That was really cool. And so, to have a disability that prevents you from doing something that you get to watch every day, everybody else around you get to do, it's great. I mean, it was great. It's always great being a part of something that's really impactful. I still take a lot of pride in the ground-based support, is what I like to call it. I take a lot of pride in that. But it's really great to actually have a pilot's license in my wallet. There's something really awesome about that. And so, Rob, I stand really behind anything you can do to get your testing across, because, if they need more time, if they need larger font, whatever they need, because there's really something about, being able to have something that for 20 years I could never hold in my pocket because of a disability that I myself have. So drones allow that. There's some stories out of Africa. So Africa has, a really quality drone program, but they are adopting old world, old style, full physical, kind of policies for drone licenses, not realizing that you don't need a full physical in order to operate the controls of a drone license. So they're really kind of taking to heart some of the things that we're doing in the US and saying, why are we doing a full physical when a drone isn't operated the same way a whole aircraft is? And so some of the things that we're doing in the US are actually really being impactful in other countries, which is really cool. So, please read that thing that Vic put out, and please support when, some of the other people on these phone calls are saying, hey, I need some help. Please help, because it really is important to not only this community, but really the rest of the world is watching what we're doing. And so for the disabled community out there that never could fly airplanes, never could hold a pilot's license, never could be a part of the aviation community, drones are for the first time allowing them to do that. And so when I first heard Rob's story, I was like, okay, I'm not as disabled as Rob is, but as somebody that is disabled, it's really powerful to have a pilot's license in my wallet. It's really awesome. You know, it's a drone license, and a lot of people might look at me and say, you're not a real pilot. Okay, screw you. It's still a pilot's license. And I worked hard for it for 20 years. I worked really hard for it. So that's kind of my story. And I'm going to be a part of what Rob's doing.
Awesome.
I'm going to share that story. I don't commercially fly, but I am part of some ground support operations. I do a lot with safety management systems and things like that. But you know, that's kind of my background story. And yeah, I'm really proud of the work that Rob's doing. I'm really proud to support. I share almost every single one of his posts that he puts out on LinkedIn to my 2,000 followers that I have on LinkedIn. And I hope that I get the word out, you know, as much as I possibly can for the work he's doing, because I'm really proud of him. I'm really proud of the work he's doing.
Woohoo! Yes. All right.
Thank you,
Yes,
Jennifer.
we all. He's on fire.
You bet.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Everybody, it's just an amazing platform and program that you are doing. So super exciting. We've already had some people shouting out about they want to help. So that's what it's all about, getting this community together and helping, right? So we thank you again, Rob, and look forward to seeing all your posts coming out. And yes, we're going to reshare, right? So we are down to the last few minutes here. And I would like to, before I segue over to what Vic wanted to say, I have some super cool, hot off the press announcements to make. Yes, we have officially got the word for 2 amazing workshops that are going to be coming up through Women in Drones. This is, you ready for this? We got the drum roll going on, right? So do you remember when we had the ladies that filmed the disaster in Miami, right? They are hosting a Women in Drones training session coming up in May. Robin's actually here with us on this call today, so we're super excited. Robin, thank you so much. And we are super excited. We will get you the details, but it's official. Coming up in May, we have an intense workshop for disaster relief. Thank you, Robin. Yeah. Okay, but wait, we've got another one. Yeah, I know. So just got Charlie's Angels are excited too. Yeah. So we have another one. Are you ready for this? So we have now got an official date of April 2nd. We're hosting another Women in Drones training class with Autel and John McBride. Yeah. Oh my God. How awesome is that? So the registration will be coming up. I know the one for the Autel training will be coming up. It'll become available on the website on Monday. Not sure about when the other workshop will be up on the website. And
Tuesday.
Sharon
Tuesday.
is here to, Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Oh my gosh, these are phenomenal opportunities. So excited. There's so much more details that I want to get out there, but I know we're starting to run out of time. So, but I'm super excited. That just all came into fold right as we were doing this coffee connection. So I was glad to put that out there. Yes. Okay, Vic, you had one more thing you wanted to throw in.
Just one. Boy, Shannon just disappeared. Sharon just disappeared out of there. It was kind of interesting noise that came with that. Anyway, I've been texting back and forth with Kenji this morning, and according to him, we're getting killed by the anti-drone people in those comments. So if you can go ahead and do that and share that link with everybody you can think of in the drone world, that would be awesome and greatly appreciated. And also, Rob, I'm going to reach out to you and send an introduction. One of the first people I met in this industry is Wheelchair Bound. Phenomenal guy. And he flies drones, and he lives in a van, and he ended up driving all the way down to South America in his van. So he's got a heck of a story. Now COVID's shutting down, so he had to fly back and ship the van back. But I'm gonna hook you up with him. It's just a phenomenal story.
Awesome.
That would be
that's all I
amazing.
got.
Thank you.
Okay, and I did repost that link because I know it was up at the top. And so I reposted that link, hoping that you'll all jump on that, all right? Okay, well, thank you, Rob, for sharing. Amazing story. Happy to hear your journey and excited to see what's happening and all the contributions that you've had. Amazing people on your team. All right, with that, we are going to wrap it up for this week and we will see you next Tuesday. Yes, all right. Thank you for everything.
See everybody. Have a great
Good to
week.
See you.
Thanks,
Bye,
Rob.
safe,
God
everyone.
bless.
That kind of wraps it up.